Hello, I'm Emily. I'm one of the senior property managers at Smart Estate Agent. I wanted to run through part of the move-in process for some of the student properties that we have moving in, just to make it a little bit clearer on exactly what's expected on move-in day and actually throughout your tenancy as well. So you've all had a copy of your tenancy agreement already, so that's been sent through to you via property file as an e-signed document. If you haven't already, I know you've all signed it, but you need to make sure that you've had a good read of that to fully understand your responsibilities within the tenancy and the move-in process. So that also runs into your lease. So you're starting what is mostly a 50-week contract, some are 48 weeks, but those leases can't be broken midway through that tenancy. So you are expected to pay the rent for the full term of that tenancy. Rent is therefore payable on the first day of each month, and we need to have all of the rents in as one transaction. So I know obviously with many of the properties you'll be paying proportions towards that and splitting it between however many tenants there are, but it's really important that we receive that as one transaction, just because we don't have the capacity to be able to process all of those separate payments on the first day of each month. What others have done in the past is nominate one tenant for everyone to pay their rent to. I'd recommend doing that on the last few days of the previous month, and then make sure that we've got that ready for the first of the month when obviously your rent is due. We can unfortunately charge for any late payments, so it's really important that you make sure that we receive that on time so that we don't have to enter any rental arrears procedures. Our office opening hours are between 9 and 5:30 on weekdays, and then between 9 and 1 on a Saturday. It's really important before the tenancy starts that you understand who your property managers are for the term of your tenancy, so you know who your first point of contact is. We have 2 teams within the company. You can reach us always via the phone, but we are out a lot of the time, so it's actually easiest to contact us via email. If you're unsure on who you need to email, just let us know before the start of your tenancy and we can make sure that you've got all of the appropriate contacts. Maintenance is obviously one of the biggest issues that you're going to need to contact us about throughout the course of your tenancy. So maintenance comes under 2 categories. It would be a general maintenance and emergency maintenance. Obviously, if it's an emergency, you have an emergency line that you'll have in your quick reference guide and move-in pack that you'll get on your move-in day. I'd recommend keeping this in the property. You also have all of our contact details on the notice board that will be in your property as well. So if you ever need to contact us, if it's an emergency, you can reach us either on the office line if we're open. Otherwise, we do have a dedicated emergency line, but that is only to be used in the case of an emergency. Maintenance that constitutes an emergency is actually written in your move-in pack, so I would again recommend having a good read of that, as you can only use that line in the event of an emergency. The other type of maintenance is obviously more general maintenance. Obviously the emergency line is not to be used for general maintenance, but if you have anything that you notice is starting to wear out, for example, if you are finding that the door, when you're opening internal doors, that they're rubbing on flooring and things like that, it's really important that you let us know about things like that, as they can actually cause further damage the longer that they're left. And if you don't let us know, unfortunately, it can sometimes mean that you are responsible for payment of any damages that may cause. Any general maintenance such as that is really important that you tell us in via property file. So that's the online platform that you all would have received a login for so far. If you haven't managed to log into that yet, I'd recommend you do so before your tenancy starts. It's a really handy platform. It tells you how many days you have until rent due date, where you need to pay your rent to, and any other questions that you might have, and you're able to access that 24/7. So on there is a place where you're able to log maintenance. It will take you through some troubleshooting as well, just in case it's a quick fix that you might be able to do yourself, and then it will come through in a list for us, which we will look at within 24 hours. I wanted to run through as well some common maintenance issues that we often find with the student properties. So this often is to do with keys. So you will all be given a front door key, and if you need one as well, a back door key, as well as if it's appropriate for your type of house, you'll receive an individual room key. Not all of our properties have got individual room keys, as obviously you're on joint and several tenancies. With your keys, if you do lose any keys, it is your responsibility to pay for any replacements. We do, in the most cases, have spare keys in our office that you're able to come to our office, take away with you to get cut, and then bring them back to us, but that has to be on the same day. If you ever need us to come out to let you into the property, there can be call-out charges associated with that. So I'd recommend, if you're going to lock yourselves out, definitely do it when we're open, but we can help where we can. So maintaining cleanliness is something that's really, really important within your properties. I'd recommend particularly keeping on top of things like in the shower, where you'll see sealant and silicone in the shower and baths. That's really important to make sure that it doesn't build up with mould. If that stains the silicone, you can be responsible to have that replaced at the end of tenancy. So it's really important to keep on top of cleanliness such as that, just to make sure that we don't have to obviously make any deductions from your deposit at the end of tenancy. Similarly, we often find that blue tack is used on walls. It's really important that you don't do this. It looks completely harmless, but unfortunately it does always leave an oily residue and a stain on the paintwork. That would be considered damage as well. Maintaining cleanliness in properties as well as gardening is really, really important. We often find that silicone, particularly in showers and baths, is often damaged as it hasn't been maintained. This can lead to the silicone needing replacing, so it's really, really important that you keep on top of that cleanliness just to avoid any deductions from deposit having to be made. Similarly, blue tack, we often find in properties that's been used on the walls and paintwork. That does leave an oily residue and a stain, so it's really important that you don't use any blue tack on the walls, as that can lead to deductions coming from your deposit, as it would be considered damage. Condensation and mould, unfortunately, is something that can happen, particularly in student properties with them being older buildings. It's important that you have a read mostly of your tenancy agreement, as well as the condensation and mould leaflet that we will include in your move-in packs, just so you can understand the importance and your responsibilities in maintaining that. It's important to keep properties adequately ventilated and the heat kind of regulated, particularly within the winter. That's when we find the most issues. Obviously using extractor fans and opening windows as often as you can as well, just to maintain, make sure that there's no excess water vapour in the air. So you are responsible to make sure that the property has personal contents insurance for your belongings. So our landlords have buildings insurance, but that won't extend to cover your personal belongings. So I would recommend that you take out a policy for your contents. Leaving the property for the holidays. I know that the properties will be left empty on occasion for more than 2 weeks. In line with your tenancy agreement, you need to let us know the dates in which properties will be empty for more than 2 weeks, just as it can impact on the landlord's insurance. So on move-in day, the first person to arrive, I understand not in all cases that's everyone, so the first person to arrive, we can meet them at the property. You need to give us a call to book in your move-in slot appointment, as we need to meet you at the property, show you that the smoke alarms work and take everyone's right to rent as well. So we're not able to give everyone the keys unless we've seen their right to rent in person. So I understand in most cases not everyone in your group is going to be able to come at exactly the same time. The way that we need to work it is the first person or the first few people that arrive, we will meet them at the property, give them as many set of keys as there are people, and then anyone else joining them later will need to come to our office to show their right to rent for us to photocopy, and then we'll give them their set of keys as well. For anyone who has keys to their individual rooms, these will be left at the property, so the rooms will be open when you first arrive. Anyone who hasn't shown their right to rent on the first day of the tenancy on the 1st of September needs to come to our office to then get their front door key. So on the first day of the tenancy, if not before, you'll be given a copy of your inventory. So this is a really long, comprehensive third-party report of the exact condition of the property when you move in. By law, you've got 7 days from the start of the tenancy in which to make any amendments to that inventory. So this might be anything that the inventory clerk has missed when they're looking around the property. It wouldn't include any damages that might be caused by moving your things in, but anything that they've missed that you want to add on is absolutely your right to add that. If you can send anything that you notice with photos to us via email, we'll make sure that it's added onto the inventory as an addendum. Lastly, I just wanted to say thank you for choosing Smart for your student property this year. I hope you really enjoy working with us, and we'll look forward to meeting you.